in this episode of Movie Review, I am going to review an anime movie named Her Blue Sky. I started this review series being inspired by some of the YouTubers. I hope you like my video on this. Stay tuned and enjoy. This movie released on the 11th of October 2019 in Japan. The plot goes as follows. Second-year high school student Aoi Aioi is an aspiring musician. Her older sister Akane's ex-boyfriend Shinosuke Kanamura is a struggling guitarist. Aoi and Akane's parents passed away in an accident 13 years ago, and Akane gave up her ambition of going to Tokyo with Shinosuke to take care of Aoi. Since then, Aoi has felt indebted to her older sister. One day, she is invited to perform at a music festival as a session musician by a famous singer named Dankichi. At the same time, Shinosuke returns to Aoi and Akane's town after a long time away. Then, Shino mysteriously appears, who is actually Shinosuke from 13 years ago, after traveling from the past to the present, and Aoi falls in love for the first time. The team from the moving The Anthem of the Heart returns with a surprising story full of romance and youthful longings. From the trailer, Her Blue Sky looked decent enough. A well-produced and animated coming-of-age story with aspiring musicians that was helmed by key members behind Anohana, a solid, rather melodramatic tearjerker. Instead of rising to the level of the aforementioned series, Her Blue Sky instead imitates the mediocrity of the team's other work, Anthem of the Heart. One thing all three productions have in common is a fantasy element. While I didn't have an issue with this in the other two titles, it felt unneeded here, exploring feelings of the past that would have been better relegated to subtext. In fact, Japanese films and anime have a rather tiresome penchant for injecting rote fantasy elements into an otherwise ordinary story as of late. It often amounts to adding boatloads of spice to a bland dish. Though The Whole Living Ghost was a bit confusing, the film Her Blue Sky had a touching story. The art was okay, but the background looked artificial, and not in the same wave as the rest of the animation. The voice acting was good too. As for the story, the relationship between the two sisters was sweet, and that helped with the ending. However, the rest of the story was okayish. The romance thing was just okay, but did not develop well. The rest of the characters were just there to support the action. The film is a typical slice of life about following your dreams, or not, and growing up. Shino, or Suke, is part of a band wanting to make it big. Akane is his girlfriend, and Aoi, her younger sister, has a crush on Shino and wants to become a bassist. The parents of the two sisters die, forcing Akane to take care of Aoi and stay in their small town, while Shino, disappointed to go alone, heads to Tokyo to attend university. Somewhere along the way, the hopeful, young Shino becomes literally separated from Shinosuke, a 30-something, gruff, and unfulfilled musician. He's not creating his own music as he'd hoped, but he's playing in an enka band that none of the characters seem to enjoy. So the fantasy element is that while Shinosuke grew up, the young Shino is dredged up as a ghost who interacts with Aoi and her friend to prove that Aoi isn't a loon, obviously. Aoi's crush on Shino comes back fast and strong, just as Shinosuke and Akane slowly reconnect. As I said before, the fantasy element was unnecessary, and all of it could have been embedded in the subtext. As it is, it's no more than a distraction. A layer of sugary icing over a bland cake. It really feels like if they cut out all the fantasy fat, then maybe Aoi and Shinosuke, after finally settling their differences, could have gotten a band together alongside the enka music practice, having the film conclude with one of their very own songs they put all of their passion into. Not to say this isn't a cliché ending, for I've seen this in other movies and series, but this is just typical payoff for a movie about a band. Even if they decided this didn't work and wanted to go in a different direction, as they did, it's surprising that a movie so focused on music actually has very little good music. I've never seen a film about a band that was so musically boring. The other reviewer who said they spent all their time rehearsing the music is correct in stating that this build-up never went anywhere, leaving an empty feeling. The problem is that the enka music was presented as lame in the film, and seemingly wouldn't have been satisfying as a conclusion, or a pivotal scene, since it seemed to be a part of Shinosuke having given up on his dreams, and the vocalist is awful. With the ridiculous flying sequence at the end and all the Shino nonsense, there wasn't enough time for any of this. Some of the character interaction is decent or quite good, but much of it felt rushed and underdeveloped. Always spends so much time talking to the old Shino, resulting in her never really getting to know the real Shinosuke. Although I think Aoi's female friend was probably a good and needed inclusion, she never really has much to do in the short running length of the film, and I question if she also should have been excised or given a few extra scenes. In conclusion, this is an okay slice of life drama with an unneeded fantasy element, but it's watchable. Thanks for watching this video. If found my review helpful, do like my video, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Peace out.